fellow YouTubers. So here we are. It's Wednesday evening, so you will get this on Thursday. That's why my makeup's all messed up, I guess. Long day. So what a week. What a week. It's just been kind of cray cray, to be honest. A lot of activity at work, a lot of extra steps on my Fitbit, which is good, but tired. This week I've just been exhausted and it's just non-ending. And then I don't know, just a lot. But it's gonna get better, right? It's gonna go better. Um, what was I gonna say? Oh, we're talking about a great thing today. Great thing. We're gonna talk about healthy relationships. Healthy relationships, whether it be a coworker, a family, a boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, friend, anything. Healthy relationships. And I'm going to say this. I've had a few really, really, really good healthy relationships. Um, and the most of those have had to go through some issues to get to be where I consider them very, very healthy. Um, we often get into relationships and we aren't true to ourselves. Like we don't respect ourselves with it. And like I said, it doesn't matter what kind of relationship. It can be a work relationship with a coworker and you're so wrapped up in, just wanting to make it right or good that you inevitably look over what you needed to do for yourself. So, what happens with that is that guess what? That relationship becomes a mesh and it's not healthy and it's not good and it needs to have some changes to it. There need to be some boundaries and some proper expectations and things need to be said, okay? Kind of the same with relationships. When we go into relationships with somebody else, a significant other, we ask this list of things. What do you do? What do you like to do? What are your hobbies? What's this? What's this? But do we ask about how they express their feelings? Do we ask about, their communication style? Do we ask about, their love language? Or do you look into that? Do we ask all those hard questions or do we just kind of overshadow them because we're in the moment of the newness and just wanting to make it right? And a lot of times those questions in that relationship being overlooked tend to be what on the outside or the longer end of that, say a week, a month, a year down the line, you start getting those answers to those questions and you're like, oh, okay. Well, what happens if you've already conformed into this relationship and now you're in this pattern and you're no longer able to be who you are, what you want to believe or think, or it's nothing healthy for you because you've either A, accepting them something that you would not generally accept, or B, you conform to the point of not being healthy and very codependent on that relationship. And either way, those aren't healthy, guys. Those relationships aren't healthy. Um, Here's a hard one for me. The next thing on relationships is that let's take parental, okay? I'm sorry, but if I would have told my mama, no, I'm not doing this when she gave me a chore to do, there was a repercussion. Like, consequences were real, you know? You can't go to your friends. You can't go to the stayover. You can't, you can't do. There was always a consequence. Now, by all means, I wasn't the worst child, I'm sure. I think I was pretty decent. I probably was a little spoiled brat when I was young, because, I'm the baby and I'm the only girl and all the things. But I really don't think I was a horrible teenager, a horrible, kid. But I still would have never, ever, ever told my mom no. I still would have never, ever, ever talked to her with disrespect, um, because it wasn't ever taught to me. Like that wasn't an option. Um, Things are so much different now. Like, mm, I see kids that are literally cussing out their parents, and I want to just scream. And the parents are like, okay, okay, okay. Like, why? Why? What makes that healthy? What makes that healthy? No, it's not okay. It's not healthy. Giving our power to our children for fear of losing a relationship is horrible. Um, Even when they get older, y'all, you're still their parent, and you still have to have boundaries with them, and you have to guide them and teach them right from wrong, and you want to instill in them the sense of learning who they are and becoming who they want to become. And you can't just save their ass every time. Like, you can't. It can't happen. You know why? Because you'll get exhausted and you'll get tired, and there'll become anger and animosity and frustration and hurt and pain. And all those things don't equal to be a good, healthy relationship, right? Now, I can talk about now. I mean, my relationship with my mom had, when I was younger, she was my everything. And then we went through a phase where I detached because of my mentality being stuck in something different and where she was in her life. So we weren't the closest, but then we came back together, and, you know, same, she's my everything. My mom is my everything. My everything. Like, everything that I do, I think about the effects of my mother still today. I'm 42. She is living her best life, or hope that she's living her best life. She's went through some things in life, um, her own challenges and troubles, and for the longest time I didn't understand some dynamics. But for me to gain a healthy relationship with my mom, I had to be open and adapt to her thoughts, her feelings, her wants, her expectations, her desires, her needs. You know, even in that relationship, I did it because I do care, and I want that relationship to be solid. And let's talk about intimate relationships. When we're looking at spouses or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it may be, I've learned the hard way that you have to think about yourself. Like, you have to be the number one person in your relationship, because unfortunately, not saying you have to be greedy, like, I'm not saying that, but you have to be honest with yourself. You have to go into that relationship and say, I want XYZ, and you need to talk to these people, and they have to have the same desire for XYZ. Now, I'm not saying everything has to be the same. I'm not saying you have to be the same person, but we have to be able to talk about what we want and what we're expecting and how we feel. And if you can't, you've just basically become somebody that you really aren't. And at some point, that's going to explode, and it's no longer going to be healthy. So these hard talks, these guys, girls, whatever, in a dating relationship, I'll be honest, I am the most worst dater ever. Like, I feel like we should have little arrows on our head, that says, comes down, and when everybody should, okay? And when you walk by who's supposed to be your soulmate, it just ding. I mean, I've been very lucky and blessed, don't get me wrong, but I had a few trials and tribulations going through there, okay? Um, but if I'm not able to be honest with what I want, I can never provide a whole me, a true me, and that relationship is going to be so a mesh. And it's hard. It's very hard. When you can get to a point that you've found a healthy relationship, The feelings of worry and doubt and concern are a lot less than what they would be if you weren't. Um, I have strong communication skills. Probably not the best communication skills, but I do have strong communication skills. I feel like there's never a reason that I can't talk to somebody. And if I can't talk to you, that's the first red flag there is, right? If I can't tell you how I think or feel or what I'm doing, then that's a red flag. And oftentimes, before in my life, I have just ignored those red flags just because I wanted to be with somebody. I wanted to be with somebody. I wanted to be wanted by somebody. I wanted to be, all these things. But those situations never made me happy, and the relationships were not healthy for sure. And once you've experienced that healthy relationship, you kind of put it up to where it's a big thing, and everything has to, you compare everything to it. So, um, I think, I don't know, guys, relationships are difficult, and they become a mesh, and they're hard and confusing, and it's hard to explain what we need to do. But the first thing that I can tell you that I would suggest that you do to be in a point where you are happy and comfortable and you're having that healthy relationship with whoever it may be, know yourself. Soul search yourself. Know what your expectation is. Know what you're looking for. Know what you're wanting. Know what you're willing to compromise on. Know what's important to you and what's not. Be willing to grow and learn. Be able to help somebody grow and learn. Like, be aware of who you are and what you can bring to the plate, I guess. Um, you can't be all about yourself either. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying you have to know yourself enough to know that when you're exploring relationships or identifying relationships, that you understand the boundaries and what they are and what they can become. Okay. Um, I think, like I said, very, very confusing, but very, very healthy. It's a must do. So yeah. I think that if you were to step back and say, okay, look at even just your friendships, okay? I can tell you I might have 3 people, 4 people that I would say are like true friends. Like, I don't know, like, two, it may be less, I don't know. But I know I have a whole lot of associates. I know that there's a lot of people that I talk to and um, or I work with or whatever it may be, but they're not really relationships that I need to evaluate. I don't need to spend time and energy on them because they're associates, okay? They're not affecting me to a point of concern. Now, some of us have friendships or relationships that we consume everything that we have into that, and we again put ourselves on the back burner, and it becomes very difficult to do much in life elsewhere. Okay, so think about it as we wrap up here. Think about your relationships. Think about what you want to change. Think about what you would want in a relationship. Think about what your, I said love language. Guys, if you don't know what your love language is, it's going to be hard. I mean, it's going to be really hard. Like, my love language isn't getting gifts, but some people have that as a love language. And if you can identify that in the front of this, the better it is. If you're one that wants words of affirmation, you probably don't want to go out and talk a date or be in a friendship or a relationship with anybody that is always putting you down, because that's not very good. It's not healthy. So, yeah, think about yourself and what you bring to the table and what you want. If we have ourselves aware of what we need, what we want, and what our desires are in the forefront of our mind, when we go into getting relationships, everything will become more surreal and more healthy, and it's not near as deep. So, We're going to go ahead and talk about that further because there's so much to healthy relationships. But I just wanted to kind of come in here and have you guys start, processing what you think a healthy relationship is and what you need to do to identify that. So, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please drop me a message down here. Also, if you can't hear me the best, it's because I forgot my mic way over here. So, tomorrow will be better. I forgot. Urgh. But for tonight, have a great Thursday, you guys. You have one more day, and we're on to the next there. And until then, have a great evening. Please continue to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Thank you guys.